Hello, dear listeners. I'm your host, Genevieve Hopkins, and welcome to episode 24 of the Wheel and Cross podcast. Merry Beltane Eve to those of us in the Southern Hemisphere, and happy Halloween to all in the Northern Hemisphere. Wherever you are, I hope you have a fun-filled night full of trick-or-treating magic. Over the last month, we've explored the many facets of Beltane, which is the more seasonally appropriate celebration of spring in the Southern Hemisphere. Episode 20 discussed Beltane versus Halloween and explored Walpurgisnacht. Episode 21 explored the lighting of the bale fires. Episode 22 dove into springs, wells, and morning dew. And episode 23 dug into a Maying, the Maybush and Maypoles. In this episode, we will explore the fascinating, colourful and seasonally appropriate Latin American celebration of Día de los Muertos. This podcast is free, but if you like my work and would like to support me so that I can continue doing it, please consider a paid subscription on the Wheel and Cross Substack page, www.wheelandcross.substack.com. If that is not possible, and you enjoy this podcast, I would really appreciate your reviews on any of the podcasting platforms you use. Feel free to share this podcast and leave comments on the podcast page. Welcome to episode 24 of the Wheel and Cross podcast, Día de los Muertos. As always, I would like to acknowledge the custodians of these lands on which I work and live in Australia's capital region, the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people, and I pay my deep respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and to all First Nations across Australia. Day of the Dead, known as Día de los Muertos in Spanish, is celebrated throughout Latin America. It is a fusion of Catholic and Indigenous traditions that can be traced back to Mesoamerican cultures like the Aztec and Maya in Mexico and Guatemala, and the Inca in the Andean countries of Bolivia, Ecuador, and Peru. Observed between November the 1st and 2nd, Día de los Muertos is a vibrant and joyous celebration to remember family and ancestors who have passed away, and to support their spiritual journeys in the afterlife. Families gather together and practice traditions that honour their deceased relatives and invite them back to the land of the living to partake in celebrations. Graves are cleaned and decorated with marigolds, candles, and colourful paper-cut flags. The deceased's favourite foods and personal mementos are often placed in graveside ofrendas or altars. Ofrendas are also created in homes, housing photos and personal mementos decorated with marigolds or other flowers, candles, and offerings of food and drink. Marigolds are an important symbol during Día de los Muertos, as their aroma and bright colour are believed to help guide the spirits of the dead back to the living world and to their loved ones. Pan de muerto, a special bread of the dead, and colourfully decorated sugar skulls are popular foods used as offerings. Families share stories and fond memories of their deceased loved ones. They hold feasts in honour of and to remember their beloved dead, and to provide them with sustenance in the afterlife. Festivals and parades full of music, dance and colourful costumes are also held in celebration of the dead. La Calavera Catrina, the elegant skull, has become a ubiquitous symbol of Día de los Muertos. She was first depicted in a broadside lithography print by José Guadalupe Posada in 1901, who was lampooning the European aspirations and corruption of Mexican high society. The famous Mexican muralist Diego Rivera elaborated on this image and made La Catrina an icon through his mural Sueño de una tarde dominical en la Alameda Central, or Dream of a Sunday Afternoon at Alameda Central Park, in which he depicts La Catrina, arms linked with Posada and with his own famous wife, Frida Kahlo. Mexicans and other Latin Americans have a long history of revering death in her feminine form. Nuestra Señora de la Santa Muerte, Our Lady of Holy Death, often shortened to Santa Muerte, is a cult image and folk saint of Mexican Catholicism. She is considered a personification of death and is associated with healing, protection, and safe delivery to the afterlife. Although her cult has been condemned by the Roman Catholic Church, she has become increasingly prominent since the start of the 21st century. Santa Muerte herself is an echo of an even older Aztec goddess, Mictecacihuatl, who watched over the bones of the dead and was queen of Chiconamictlan, the Aztec underworld. Despite its association with death, Día de los Muertos is not a mournful event, but rather a lively, colourful celebration that embraces death and brings family together to honour the deceased and keep their memories alive. No mention of Día de los Muertos is complete without the gorgeous and magical Disney Pixar animated movie, Coco. Not only does it depict the customs and the meanings behind many of the Día de los Muertos traditions, it is a lovely and entertaining story for the whole family. I adore this film, and I'm sure you will too. I'll be taking a hiatus from writing, recording, and publishing episodes of the Wheel and Cross podcast for the month of November, in order to rest and prepare for the joyous madness of the upcoming Christmas season. The podcast schedule, with links to past episodes, can be seen on the Wheel and Cross Substack page, under the tab titled Schedule. December's Christmas-themed episodes include Episode 25, A Very Aussie Christmas. Episode 26, Santa's Nice and Not So Nice Elves. Episode 27, The Making of Santa Claus. And Episode 28, New Year's Eve Traditions. Have a fabulous November, and in the meantime, I offer you this poem in the spirit of the season, titled Reveries by Josephine Butterfield Walcott in her book World of Song, 1878. Sweet are the tales of the years that have vanished, beautiful years that can never return, beautiful hopes that cannot be banished. In the heavens of the soul their fires will burn. Soul speaks to soul through years long departed, distance is swept by sweet memory aside. A word resurrects the long silent hearted. We walk once again by dear ones who died. See you in December for episode 25, A Very Aussie Christmas.